Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying time is here. That's right, we're talking about Crawl on Animal Attacks April on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you from just offshore in Florida. What's the worst that can happen? This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we are dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any horror film, the characters. That's right, we're going to unpack all the goriest of details of 2019's Crawl in the hopes that a young athlete's untimely end is just the beginning of the jokes we can make at her expense. And as always, there's only one person I trust, that if I'm busy stealing scratchers, she will warn me that there are gators outside. The one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
Shortly before I'm flung into a plate glass window by an alligator. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It does. What is your now? We've gone through 4 different animal attacks movies, and some have been more successful than others in the sense that almost none of them were successful. Anaconda was a good B movie, but I would garner to say that Crawl is the zenith of this particular animal attack April, correct?
Is it a zenith or is it an apex?
Oh, I mean, take your pick. Either the top of the alphabet or the bottom.
If we're gonna without all the fancy words, are you saying, is this the best of the bunch? Yes, I would say that of the movies we have covered, aside from our Patreon episode, this is by far the best one that we've covered.
Yes. And so what was your experience? Like, when did you first see this?
I actually watched this for the first time only like a few months ago. And then I watched it again tonight for this. I think it's just one of those things. It's like so many people told me I would like it,
mm-hmm.
that I was like, sure, why not? I put it on. I was like, and I wasn't expecting a whole lot from it, to be honest.
Sure.
But I was like, okay, this is a fucking animal attacks movie. There's so many things it does differently than other typical animal attacks movies. You've got, it's essentially a 2-character movie, which is very unusual.
Yes.
For this kind of thing. You don't have, like, even the characters that get picked off, it's not like they haven't been set up to stand around waiting to die. They're just there for a couple minutes and then they get killed off. You don't have the heroine having some sort of reason to strip down to her bra and panties, which is a refreshing change of pace.
Yes.
And the dog doesn't die.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's got all of everything going for it. And I think the economics of scale with this motion picture is one of its greatest strengths. The fact that it does reduce who it's about, the fact that these animals require they really need to gang up to take you out completely, or they need to get a great shot in. You can survive some attacks, you can't survive some others. It reduces everything down to a small space. Whereas Prophecy took, place across all of the state of Maine. And also it is proof that alligators, while terrifying, are also kind of silly looking too. Yes. Speaking of someone who enjoys a goofy looking alligator, we of course have a special guest. She is a returning champion here to not only Kill by Kill, but to my life. The one, the only Becky Wilson. How are you doing today, Becky?
Hello. I am good.
I thought you were gonna say someone else is here who's not only terrifying but silly looking. I was gonna be like, hey.
That was the look on her face, and I got offended because I would.
That's not nice.
No, it is not. That's why I didn't say it.
But then you were trying to call yourself a gator.
No.
No? What were you trying to do?
I was saying that you're a returning champion. You also recognize goofy looking gators, because last night, one of your first comments once the gator showed up was, oh, that guy's just a grumpy puss.
Yeah, they all had the persona of very grumpy old men.
They were very grumpy old men, and that's what I loved about them. I loved the choices that were made, that this director understood the movie he was making, was willing to smile about it in places that at one point the alligator's mouth is open in that crocodile alligator smile with the camera shooting through the smile to the terrified protagonist. I mean, just there was some wonderful choices.
There really were.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention about what makes this superior to the other movies that we have covered for this month is it does not have these animals doing things they cannot actually do.
Right.
Like I was thinking of the way the movie ends, which spoiler, the heroine and her dad survive. I mean, the dad's missing several body parts by that point, but
so many body parts,
and probably several pints of blood at that point. But they managed to make it to the roof of their house, and she is hailing a helicopter to come rescue them. You know, then the movie ends. I was like, if this was any other movie, like the helicopter would start to lower and like an alligator would just like come launching itself out of the water to attack the helicopter. But no, the alligators stayed where they belonged.
Yeah, they didn't just use their tails to flap on the water real hard and spring up in a joint attack.
They didn't roar or anything like that. They just kind of made these like kind of grumpy old man grumbling.
Yeah, they make real gator noises. Like gators make those noises. They don't amplify them. You don't have Frank Welker in the background going.
They're not shrieking.
No, they're not screaming. They don't have hippo teeth. They don't have charred skulls. All the things that we've witnessed up until this point.
And they are terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, we were genuinely scared.
Yeah, and it's the second time for us watching it.
I know. I still jumped a lot.
Yeah.
They are large boys.
They are big boys.
Well, and it's all of that still water, and you see like the trash in the water or the whatever in the water, and it's murky, and you think it can't be a gator in there because there just was 10 seconds ago. So it'll be gone, and then it's there it is. I mean, I loved all the... It kind of fucked with the movie beats a little bit, I felt.
Yes. Yeah. It was very well constructed in almost every single way. And before we get to the film itself, we mentioned the director, and it's, Andre Aja, am I saying his first name? I don't know what I'm saying. Is
Alexandre, I think.
Alexandre Aja. My apologies. My French is terrible. But here's a guy who kind of has big effective swings and then incredible misses. So it's one of those things where I can't decide, like, he's obviously good because there's no way you could just stumble into a movie this well constructed, or he's taken all the lessons he's learned and actually applied them to the right type of movie for him. I can't decide which it exactly is. You got High Tension, which has one of the worst twists of all fucking time. I mean, literally ruins a good movie. That's how bad it is. Then you have the Hills Have Eyes remake, which is legitimately good. And as much as it might pain me, a Craven fan, to say it, infinitely better than the original. I'm sorry.
I've not actually seen the remake. I guess I should.
It is quite good. It is particularly grisly. It has a lot of the same strengths that this one has.
It does.
And then you have one of the most ludicrous, out there fucking ghost movies of all time, Mirrors from 2008. Have you ever?
That's the Flophouse. Wait, what? Come on. That's same Mirrors.
Yeah, that is the.
That's all I know. That's all I know about Mirrors. Is the Flophouse episode.
And the Mirrors has another twist ending in which the lead from 24 and the President show we worked on for ABC, Kiefer Sutherland. Mm-hmm. So he plays like a disgraced cop who takes a job at a mall, at an old department store that has these grand mirrors. And then
I did see this.
You did see that?
Yeah.
Did we see it together?
I think so.
We must have seen it. I must have dragged you. Oh my God, I'm sorry. But do you remember that at the end of it, like a ghost nun and him have a fist fight and then he wakes up in the mirror world? It's got one fantastic kill in it. There's who's playing his sister in that. Amy Smart looks at herself in the mirror and then like smashes something and just cuts her whole face from one part of her jaw to the other. And it is like grisly and just shocking, and nothing in the movie can live up to it. That's Mirrors. It's the perfect Stewart. Wait, what? Come on. Moment.
What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense.
What? Come on. Then you have Piranha 3D, which again is another movie that knows what it is. I would never call it better than the original Piranha, nor would I call like the greatest, fish attack movie ever of all time.
What is the greatest?
The original Piranha is
Jaws.
pretty good. And Jaws is a fish. So we'll put Jaws in there because it's like a stone cold classic. But Piranha 3D isn't trying to really be Piranha. It's just trying to be the most exploitation version of a Piranha movie it can possibly be. And I think it actually nails it on the character side. There's fun characters in that movie. And then Horns is a fucking tragedy.
Oh, yeah. We shall not speak of that.
No. And to this day, why every Joe Hill book is attempting to be made and no one makes heart-shaped box is fucking insane to me. That is a great book and would make a great movie, but no one wants to do it, and I can't fucking figure it out.
No, let's make a TV show out of the evil Christmas land. I mean, now don't get me wrong. I like Nos for You 8-2 or how you actually, but I like the book very much. But if ever a book did not warrant an entire ongoing series, it was that book.
Yeah. I don't get it personally. And I'm not a fan of Horns as a book either. Then he made a movie called The Ninth Life of Louis Drax that I've never heard of until now.
No, this is the first I've heard of it. Well, see, his love of twists, and also because of the genre itself, this is why, certainly, obviously the second time I knew it wasn't going to happen. When I watched this the first time, the whole time as the movie is ending, I'm like, okay, the alligator's going to pop out and eat an entire helicopter. You know why? Because I've seen that before in Jaws, Jaws the Revenge. The shark ate a helicopter.
It pains me to say this. That's Jaws 2.
No, is it?
Yes,
no,
it's Jaws 2.
Isn't there? Didn't they eat a helicopter in Jaws the Revenge too?
Maybe. I mean, he eats an entire banana boat. That's for sure. There's a surprising lack of death in Jaws 4, honestly. But he totes eats a helicopter in Jaws 2. He meets the sailboat armada and he lands and goes, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "Hey, toss us a rope." And then that half burnt shark just eats that helicopter. And that's it.
So yeah, I was not prepared for this movie. And I mean, it's not like a horror classic in the making. It's just better than a lot of movies in its same genre.
But surprisingly held up on a second viewing. Did you feel that way? Yeah.
It did. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually I liked it more on the second viewing because I had no idea, of course, what was going to happen the first time. The second time, all those details were there. When she first goes into the house to see where her dad is, and you realize they're very cleverly showing you the house. They're showing you the kitchen. They're showing you the ceiling fan she's going to grab later. They're showing you the height chart from when she was little. That's going to show you how high the water is.
Yeah.
They're showing you the kitchen tile and the window that or the screen door that she locks, that she's not going to be able to get into later. Like all that stuff is set up, and it's set up so beautifully where you don't realize what's happening until it happens.
Yes.
Which is great.
It uses the economy of scale that it takes place in that one location and really makes the most out of it. And it builds. It shows you where those locations are. Then once you start in the basement, as the water rises, the level of jeopardy they are in at every single point in the movie, and it moves at a deliberate and purposeful pace. And it's not cheap, and it's not stupid, and the characters are interesting, and their dynamic works. Like, it's kind of a little miracle in that sense. Like, people obviously knew when they were writing that script, this is how you can build these things out. And then you have a director and a crew who just makes a meal out of every single beat in the movie, and it pays off like mwah.
Yeah, and one thing I also appreciate is that the dad keeps trying to bring her into conversations about the past and how we used to be so close, and she keeps shutting him down like, I don't have time for this, which is I love that, because one of my least favorite things in disaster movies and animal attack movies is when the characters, and usually it's a couple or people who were once a couple and one of them is still in love with the other one, and or like an estranged parent and child or what the fuck ever, and they have to stop in the middle of everything to have their big heart to heart. And it's just like, in real life, you would be like, let's talk about this in the ambulance. We don't have time for this.
Yes.
Yeah. I totally feel you. I mean, that's the dynamic that they have in this, is that you know that they're angry with one another. But it's such a, kind of a common thing. Okay, she's coming from a recently divorced set of parents. She's obviously broken up by this. Now her family home is being sold, but she kind of plays it off like, it's just a house. This is just stuff. Mm-hmm. And
she's also a champion swimmer because of her dad, the swim coach. But you can now tell that she's a little slower than she wants to be at her meets. If she lets drop at some point that she may lose her scholarship. So she's mad at him, but she's also mad at herself because I am not the champion that my dad said I was. And then that makes you kind of turn on your dad, because why did you make me do this in the first place? And it's all those things that I think a lot of people feel, of dads continuously treating their adult daughters like they're still 10. It's a hard thing to get around. And they did a good job of playing up that.
And playing it for real.
Tension for real.
Yeah. It's not overdrawn. They don't have some terrible family secret that they're hiding or anything like that. It's just normal everyday stuff. And she's both mad at him because they are divorced, but mad at him that he can't seem to move on. They're just... It seems real. And so when that grounds everything else, and you don't have gators that are, using their tails like propellers to skitter across open water, it lends a verisimilitude to the goings on, and you just sink into these characters' situation. I would also say,
and it's Barry Pepper. Barry Pepper, everyone.
Barry Pepper is apparently old enough to be playing a grandfather.
Well, he's not a grandfather. He is.
The sister.
Oh, that's right.
Baby.
Yeah.
Oh, you're absolutely right. 100%.
She has a baby.
She has baby. Oh boy, Battlefield Earth. He was in Battlefield Earth, Jana. Have you ever seen that?
I have. He was in a better movie, a little movie called Saving Private Ryan.
Yes. Well, sure. I mean, everyone's been in good movies.
He looked like a fetus in that.
He was very smooth.
Now he's kind of grizzled and sort of reminded me of an older version of my brother-in-law. So I'm glad he didn't get killed.
He has a divorced dad beard that doesn't really help things out, but he can really set his own bones. He uses that tool belt for everything in this movie.
This is a resourceful father and daughter.
Yes.
He tries that very masculine, like biting something while he's trying to tend to his own dismembered arm.
Yes.
The whole.
I don't begrudge him any of that. I mean, they are very good at closing off wounds. As you said.
And do you guys recognize the other lead? Because she was new to me.
She was the main girl, Haley, or the sister?
The main girl, who I read is British, but I don't know that I saw her in other things.
Yeah, she was like in the Maze Runner movies, for all I know.
I recognized her name because she was in a not very good Netflix movie about Ted Bundy.
Oh. And
she was supposed to play like his quote unquote frumpy girlfriend.
Okay.
Would you like to take a wild guess as to what made her frumpy.
Did she wear glasses?
She wore glasses.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've never seen an attractive person with glasses on. That's it's how Superman's able to hide his
absolutely not. I hope for better things for her ahead after this. What I was going to point out, Patrick, is that the sister, although I would not have known it to look at her, I just noticed her name in the credits, is Maud from Saint Maud.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I mean, she's only in the movie for about 40 seconds, but
she's
still.
in a phone. You never actually see her. So yeah. I never would have picked her out of a lineup as the same person, but no, that.
But she's also a Brit doing an American accent, because
it doesn't show.
They're taking our gerbs.
That's right.
They really are taking our gerbs. Because I would have done well in this dad role. I could have grown one of those gross beards. I would have been fine.
Do you think you could have survived being stuck in a house with several alligators?
Well, this is, I think, what I would call the only slight pitfall of this motion picture is that a lot of the gator footage is obviously CGI. And the problem with that isn't that the gators, I think, look bad. It's that they can't really match the environment to the gators. So occasionally, like, they'll skitter across mud and there's no impression that they've been there. They just kind of hover above things. It's a tiny
Didn't bother me.
It doesn't. I only saw it really on this one, on this particular
well,
watch.
I wouldn't have wanted the actors to actually be around real alligators. Then you've got a situation.
Sure.
Then you got a situation like that movie Roar, where like people were constantly getting attacked by lions.
Oh dear.
That might be a stay tuned for next Animal Attacks April, because Roar is so fucking outrageous. You can't believe it actually exists.
And it's not even technically an Animals Attack movie, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's just like a family drama that happens to have a few animal attacks in it.
Like Born Free or something like that. But
right.
But they used real lions and real people, and those people weren't trained to work with lions. So.
No. And Melanie Griffith got gored a little bit on that one. So that's a real thing that really happened. Yeah.
So much of the movie, though, you're just seeing like a tail go by. So it's not too bothersome.
No, and
when they are full in your face, then that's when they have a character. That's when their grumpy old man character comes out, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you employed a couple really good puppets at choice moments, and the camera work really tries to minimize how bad they could look. This doesn't approach anything as bad as Shark Night. Like Shark Night was terrible.
No, this is like I don't know. I'm trying to compare a good movie to the Shark Night.
It's the Citizen Kane.
Yes, thank you. That's what I'm looking for. This is Citizen Kane compared to Shark Night. That's exactly what I was grasping for. Thank you.
And it's just a nice little Swiss watch sort of setup where everything ticks along at a pace, and the tension builds as the water rises.
Yes.
And you can literally, people don't have to tell you, oh, this is bad. Like there are periods of time when they're in the basement where there's no talking happening.
Yeah, we talked about that, Gina, how we loved how there were so many stretches with no dialogue, where like you said, in a bad version of this movie, they would have constantly been announcing, oh my goodness, the water level, it's rising. And
basically like expecting that the audience needs to be told what's happening.
Like, I just don't think you can, most people would watch this movie and go, well, I just don't know when they're in danger and when they're not. It's very plain how once they're down there, getting out is going to be incredibly difficult. And then it just adds difficulty upon difficulty upon difficulty.
With moments of breath, though, where you go, oh, she's got her flashlight that whines. It's not going to run out of batteries. And there's the people across the street at the gas station. Yes, it's going to be okay. And then, of course, the people at the gas station. So
this brings up a question, and you love to see it. Something that just prompts a real get to the heart of who you are as a person question. And that is, what would you risk getting eaten by an alligator for from a convenience mart?
Becky, you're the guest. You want to take I have an answer. I'm just being polite.
I love Slurpees. So I would give it, I'd consider it. Would I actually get out of the boat for the Slurpee? I'm going to go with a no. I mean, two of the characters in this movie are going after cash from the ATM machine. They steal an ATM machine, which, okay. Yeah. But I also love that these people who steal ATM machines also care about our leading lady. He wanted to help her.
Yes, you can see like he doesn't want someone to drown, pick up an ATM machine. I get a girl out of a basement,
All in a day's work.
All in a day's work. What you going to do? Tell on me? And for his troubles, he gets et real good. And even before he gets it, his girlfriend gets it and she's already in the boat. And that gator just gets one leg and just yanks her right into the water and you never see her again. This brings up, I think, one of the movie's better strengths is that whereas the gators are they have to be kind of CGI, but the gore and the body horror and all that stuff, that is real. They don't skimp.
It's good, but it's not like over.
No, but it's impactful. It packs a punch.
Right, like when Barry Pepper's character gets his forearm
yes.
off. Like if you have those captions on, it says crunch.
I mean when that one guy gets his face smacked up against the glass. When that one cop is just in a death thrash.
Yes. And she's trying to grab his hand. Pull him out. And
then you've got the one guy who is set upon by anywhere from 5 to 30 gators.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like watching it at this point. I think the first time I was watching it, I was like, how many of these fucking things are there?
Well, this time in watching it, you do see, although it's kind of partially covered by rain, but you see that she's driving by a gator farm. So the gator farm is flooded, and these guys are
and
on
they
the
all
prowl.
got out. Yes, yeah. I missed that the first time too.
That's why they're grumpy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, imagine you go to bed and you're sleeping in your nice home, and then you wake up the next morning, you're wet, everything is there's just water building up, and you're in somebody else's house. You're gonna be lashing out at whoever you see around you.
Like every day you're guaranteed one chicken hung from a pole, and now you're like out searching for yourself. Like, I hope someone tries to steal an ATM so I can bite his leg off. I love all the gore, even the wounds.
Oh yeah, her peeling back her jeans or whatever pants she has on to look at her leg the first time she gets bit.
Her Barb and Star culottes. Yeah.
Yes.
Can we just talk about how awesome Barb and Star?
Oh my god! I want to completely alienate our listeners by just doing an episode on that.
Oh my god!
Although we did bring it up when watching this movie because we were laughing at the way she was driving through the hurricane, where she was like moving the steering wheel just a little bit to the left and the right and the left and the right, and that was it.
Don't drive straight; just make micro movements, left and right, left and right.
It's a Barb and
Star reference.
Yeah.
I've watched that movie twice. I can watch it 5 more times.
It's so good.
It is a precious jewel.
It's just one of those rare. Comedies aren't like this so much anymore, where they just go, "This isn't the real world," and no one cares about the real fucking world. This is Pee-wee's Big Adventure time. Okay, we're just going to a different place.
But with someone singing a song called "I Love Boobies," and it is credited at the beginning, at the end of the movie as a song that someone wrote.
Fingers crossed for the Oscars next year, because I think it has a chance. It lodges your way into your brain.
Especially during these COVID times.
Yes.
It's just delightful.
It really is. Barb and Star.
Warm hugs.
Another Florida movie.
It's true.
Yeah.
Double feature. There you go, listeners. Double feature.
That's your double feature.
Barb and Star followed by Crawl, or vice versa.
But might have actually been filmed in Florida. I think Barb and Star might have actually been filmed in Florida, though. Whereas if you look at the credits for Crawl, it appears to have been filmed in Yugoslavia.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a lot. It's some like Sokovia or something. It's such an Eastern European continent. It doesn't actually exist in reality,
which is good because that is not a campaign to get anybody to move to Florida.
This is true.
I mean, Florida is a place that is just trying to kill you, and it's a miracle that you survive every day. And I don't get it. I don't understand it.
You step outside of Disney World, you're just getting eaten by something. It's like the Australia of the United States.
Have I ever told the ant story on here, Gina, when I was in Orlando?
God, no.
Okay. So once upon a time, I was working for Universal Studios Japan, and I was recruiting people from Universal Studios Orlando. And like one of my first trips there, they put me up in kind of a crappy hotel. But in Orlando. I didn't care. It was next to the Pirate Dinner theater.
Surprise, pirates.
Surprise, pirates. So I go, I'm like, it's like the second night there. Monday Night Football's on, and I don't know why I decided to watch Monday Night Football, but I didn't have cable. I was there, I'm going to watch Monday Night Football. So I get some ribs. I come back, I put it on the little coffee table. I go back to grab a beer out of the refrigerator. And by the time I'm back, ants, everything is covered.
Oh my
literally.
God.
Like they've all been waiting for me to turn my back. That's how fast everything was covered with ants.
I'm just grimacing, just like listening to this.
It gets worse. So I get it out of there and put it in the dumpster and try to clean up all the ants that I do see. And I call the front desk and I go, something has to be done. My room is covered in ants. And the person on the phone said, "Are you sure?"
Well, hold on. I might be very high. Let me check this.
They're not crawling under my skin. They're attacking baby back ribs. It's not, I can see them. They exist. They are real. Can you send someone over to take care of the ants? And I'm like, all right, we'll send somebody over. Half an hour goes by, no one comes. I call again. It is a new person who answers the phone. And I give the story and they go, "Are you sure?" Now, two different people who were like, this is common. People hallucinate ants in this joint.
So I was going to say, so this is part of the script they have to read, I guess. When someone says, "My room is crawling with ants, help me."
Let's go down the list. Are you sure? Because
are you on drugs right now?
Like, how recently have you smoked crack? And I'm like, I'm very sure. Everyone stop asking me. I know what ants look like. And they're like, hold on, we're sending someone over. I'm like, are you sure? Because the last time it didn't happen. He's like, yes. 15 minutes later, the hotel cop shows up with the hand on his gun. And
he's gonna shoot you. Is he gonna? I was gonna say he's gonna shoot them with very tiny bullets.
It's just and that's he's like, and then he pulled out a can that he had stuck in his back pocket and handed it to me and walked away. Like, here you go.
You got some off-brand raid.
Here's some ant spray. Never took the other hand off the gun though.
Well, you know, the desk clerk said, "We got a troublemaker in room 404. Said there's some ants in there."
Seeing ants in dick fingers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what were we talking about again? Oh yeah.
That's a problem with a movie that we like. We tend to go off more on like personal tangents.
But it is a really good the economy of scale that it has, the way it builds it shows you the maze and then they're trying to get through it. All the obstacles are kind of real obstacles. Like, you're trapped in a basement. There's kind of one way out. It establishes that you can see through the basement, which also means you can yell out, but it's a storm. No one can hear you. You can shine a flashlight, but Maybe they can see it, maybe they can't. But those holes will also mean when the water rises enough, the water's just going to start pouring in. Like everything about it is building off the last difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Right up until the point you get to the eye of the storm. And they're like, so long as the rain's going, they can't hear us. And then the rain stops immediately.
As long as the levees don't break, we'll be fine.
Levees break.
Well, shit.
And you pretty much get to that sort of die hard in a swamp.
Yes.
That's what this is. It's Die Hard in a swamp. Oh my God. Crawl.
And the alligators are Hans Gruber.
Scheiten sie finster. What? Shoot the glass.
Oh man, like if she like fought with an alligator on the roof and the alligator fell off and just like slow motion fall, like waving its hands around, I would be like, I will never watch another movie again. It won't get any better than this.
Undoes the company watch the gator who stole from inside the house, and it just falls back in slow motion. It's bearer bonds, rain down like snow. Oh the one gator that was hung on the roof comes back. You didn't save that one. That's a gator in a hat and a trench coat. Oh man!
I like how we're coming up with scenarios to make this movie worse. It's
usually we're trying to diagnose how to get better, but you know what?
It's too good. It's too good.
Place,
how could this movie have been bad?
How can I fuck this up a little bit?
We do have to talk about the dog, other than the dog didn't die. That was a great little dog.
That was a great
Sugar.
My
goodness. Sugar had to yelp at the appropriate time, scratch at the floor, the door to the floor, to try to say, hey, this is where Dad is.
Yeah.
The dog was like wet, just covered in rain, just swimming. He had to swim through a hallway.
Oh, he's got a great stride, that one. And he's got a great little beard. Again, they don't make the dog do anything that's superhuman. The dog knows how to really do two things: swim and know where Dad is.
Yes.
And it doesn't. It fulfills that role and it doesn't get at. Like, it's just championship filmmaking here. Like, you don't need that. There's enough of what you do need in this movie. And when the huge escalations happen, like the levees breaking and them crashing the boat they finally found it back into the house, it's kind of like, okay, sure. I mean, why not? At this point, I mean, it's not like they didn't tell you that this could happen. You just don't think it's going to happen at the rate it does. And then very quickly that house starts to flood up. And even the second time she reaches into the water for something that the cops had, like the first time's the gun and she gets her arm chomped. The second time she's like, come on. All I need to do is slap this board against the water, going against every instinct I have to get that radio. But again, if she didn't get the radio, who's to say the helicopters wouldn't have come to pick them up at that moment?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, again, like another way that this is superior to some of the other movies we've seen in the theme this month is there are no human villains.
Right.
And one of the things that made me so furious about Shark Night was this twist that, this was all the sharks were acting under some sort of plot by a couple of hillbillies.
Yes.
Now, they could have very easily have turned the people robbing the convenience store into like these villains,
an extra complication,
right? Who just decide they're going to stick around and harass them,
right?
And then then it makes it more satisfying, I guess, when they eventually get killed off. And instead it's just like oh, well, there's some looters. Oh, well, now they're gator chow.
Yeah,
they left behind a boat. And that they're a boat delivery system.
Purpose, yes.
Yes. Right.
I have to say, it took me till now to realize when when you first brought up Shark Night, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. And then the second time you brought it up, I was like, oh, I watched that with you like 2 weeks ago, right?
And
you did watch
and I apparently loved it so much. I just
forgot all
blocked it.
Oh yeah, it's like already literally the only thing I remember about that movie at this point is that it had a guy from Schitt's Creek in it. That's all I remember.
Yes. Yeah.
And what's his face from Blair Witch has Jaws teeth, and he just walks around like he's a normal person.
Yes.
No one bats an eye.
And
giant shark teeth.
And a shark like leaps out of the water, which again, I don't, you can keep this animals doing shit they can't actually do.
Well, I mean, there are the sharks do leap out of the water for like seals and stuff like that. Like they do have that on camera. That is a capacity they do have. But again, those are sharks on a real hunt where they're after something. I don't know that they would leap out of the water to eat a guy on a sea-doo as if they understand what a fucking sea-doo is.
Yeah, that movie was terrible.
It was absolutely
that was
Becky.
probably one of the among the bottom of the barrel of what we covered for this show so far. We've covered a lot of bottoms of the barrel.
Not only have I forgotten a lot of what was in Shark Night, I forgot that we watched it together. That's how much my brain is saying, you don't need this information, and just overwriting it very quickly.
Just my brain was like, protect yourself. Just put it away. You didn't see it. It didn't happen.
This is space that you can use for better things. Oh my. I agree. And we don't have, I mean, yes, there is a greater environmental message here in that this is something that we will generally have to face as a nation that's surrounded on two sides in a couple spots on the south by water. Mm-hmm. And as sea levels rise and you have these bigger storms as a result of climate change, like this shit is going to, not the alligator attack necessarily, but I was going to say,
I don't think we're all at risk of having alligators in our basements.
Gina, this is the thing they're not telling you. Okay, I'm breaking. We've been doing this for 5 years, but it's all been a ruse because now this is what the podcast is. Okay, it's a podcast about how alligators are taking over the world, and as the oceans rise, they're coming to take back the land, and they're already here. They've taken over stars. They've taken over politicians. Some of your favorite pop stars, alligators. Your teachers, alligators. Universities full of alligators. They don't want to tell you the truth, and I will because I'm brave.
You are. It took you 5 years, but yes, you finally let it out.
Becky, if I start with on episode 1, and we're talking about Friday the 13th, and I'm like, and then she gets slit by the throat. Also, by the way, the world's being taken over by alligators. We're not retaining that.
That's true. You may not end up number 2 in Ukraine that way.
Yes.
This is how you got it.
Number 2 in Ukraine, number 3 in Belgium, up until today, in which our entire podcast was erased off of Apple Podcasts.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun. One box supposedly didn't get checked, and now we don't exist.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, it's pretty happy about it. I'm pretty happy. Yeah, you have to wait. You have to bring people in, and now we have a whole group of people on Patreon who are funding my alligator conspiracy theory.
Well, when we finally are able to ever do a live show, it's just going to be Patrick giving a presentation on alligators.
That's right. Sure.
The alligator menace.
Naked on stage, as I always podcast, completely naked. That is canon. Out on stage, telling old stories about how I used to work in a theme park, ran a robot, and gator theories.
Standing room only.
And then someone's going to go, when is he going to talk about Jason shouldn't wear a jacket? I'm like, shut up. I'm talking about the alligators. I thought I was going to rant about Freddy Krueger. No one knows how he works. No, fuck that. We're past that. It's gators now. It's all gators.
Chomp by chomp.
Chomp. Why didn't we think of chomp by chomp for that? We're thinking about it at the 5th show? Oh.
Well, not not all the animals chomped.
That's true.
Most of them chomped. but like the anaconda didn't chomp. He just swallowed.
No, and he sprunged.
Yes, and he crushed. He
squeezed. Did he squeeze?
He hugged to death. He just had so much love to give.
Oh.
He's like all of us. Where he got his vaccination. He's just like hugging everybody and maybe a little too hard. Maybe you have to like kind of pry him off of you. We're all gonna have that. We're all gonna have that moment. It's like okay.
Oh, fish river style. That's what this movie needed. One crazy gator guy.
No. But see, that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't need any human villains. It's got like 37 alligators.
Right.
Yeah.
When your movie has 37 alligators, much like your movie has 40 sharks, it does not need humans to be the real villains.
Very true. So, all right, Becky, you're a bit of a deficit here because you've only seen 2 of the films. 1.5, kind of. The shark thing.
I mean, I really blocked it, but yes.
1.25 maybe is still sticking in there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But Gina, in terms of ranking Animal Attack April, let's think about this in terms of, we know what the best is, right? The best is Crawl by a country fucking mile. But what is your number 2?
For quality, I probably Anaconda, but I did get a big kick out of Slugs.
Yes.
It was so weird and so incompetently made that I couldn't help but kind of love it a little.
I mean, the thing that Slugs has going.
How did the slugs kill people?
Well, they're mutated slugs.
They ate them.
Okay.
They ate people.
You would just get covered in slugs.
Like a swallow.
Right. But even like one person.
But not a chomp.
But one of them
chomps
with giant hippo teeth.
Oh.
There's a little chomping.
There's a little chomping.
Quite little chomping. But they also will jump through your skin. So like at one point, this gal who was crying during sex falls on the floor. And slugs just slip through her spinal column, just like zip zap zoom right in there.
We might be selling you on this movie. I implore you, don't watch it.
I would like to stay married to you, Becky, very much, and I will never show you slugs without prior permission. And even then, I will try to talk you out of it.
It is great, but it's also a very terrible movie.
Yes, absolutely. The people kind of explode. Like this one guy has a salad with a slug in it that his alcoholic wife makes him, and he just explodes at a restaurant, at a fancy steak restaurant with a maitre d'. He goes, "Oh, what can I get you to drink, sir?" And then he just, in the middle of drinking a scotch, explodes. And then the people who are at the meeting still want to buy that land.
They're only mildly put out at this.
Like it happens, you go to a steak restaurant, someone explodes.
I mean, who's amongst us has not, enjoyed a nice lunch with a guy whose face just melts off right in front of you.
So yeah, I'm right there with you. They're neck and neck because Slugs is both incompetent, boring, and outrageously fun in spurts. Like it would be a better movie to watch.
It was also really fun to talk about too.
Yes. Whereas Anaconda is just reasonably well executed. It's like a solid B minus sort of movie, and it's full of movie stars, and it's got a lot going for it. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. I might flop Slugs for Anaconda, but on a different day, I'm right there with you. So that really just brings us down to the bottom 4 and 5. We have 1979's Prophecy and Shark Night.
Oh, Shark Night is so low down for me. It's not just amongst the worst movie that we watched for this. It's amongst the worst movies we watched for this entire 5 years of podcast. It was boring. It wasn't so bad it's good. It was just like talk about you could see, you could say that the movie is incompetently made, and that can still be at least entertaining. I can't deal with a movie that is indifferently made. And this movie is just indifferent.
Yeah, whereas Prophecy has some highs that are so high. When that kid thwacks,
right? I mean,
in a sleeping bag, like you remember that for the rest of your life. But that is undoubtedly the movie's high point, and it never gets anywhere close to it.
Right, but Shark Night has no moments like that. It's because everybody just gets eaten by sharks, and they're not even good kills, because they're trying to stay so restrained as far as violence and nudity, and basically the reasons people watch these kinds of movies, because they're not usually for the plot. Now again, with Crawl, there's a refreshing lack of gratuitous nudity, because it would be really weird she stripped down her bra and panties when she's trying to rescue her dad. But that doesn't mean that other directors wouldn't try it. Wouldn't give her an excuse to take off most of her clothes, or to have it apparent when she's wet that she's not wearing a bra. A lot of directors would go that
or make her be in a swimming suit the whole time, like a bikini the whole time. She's a swimmer.
Yeah, she's just in her regular clothes. Yes. And she keeps them on the whole time, bless. but with Shark Night, there was nothing there that made it quote unquote worthwhile.
Prophecy just has some really terrible characters that at least get your attention, and it's so anachronistic of the time, and it also has a boring axe versus chainsaw fight.
But also, Patrick, don't forget, the rats are eating the babies.
Rats are eating the babies.
There are no rat versus baby fights in Crawl, so 1 point to Prophecy right there.
You have rats. Well, there are baby alligators, so we could. Who do you think would win in a fight, a rat or a baby alligator?
Probably a baby alligator.
I would think so.
Yeah. Rats can take some punishment, though.
Well, alligators get that little, that thing where they grab you and they start tussling with you,
Yeah, the death spiral. Yeah,
thrashing you around the water. I don't know how well a rat can take that.
Rats.
I mean, I certainly
let us know.
I wouldn't last very long. That's something with these kind of movies. I like to watch them and think, what would I do in this situation? And basically I would have died very early on, probably of a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, just the thought of the amount of times she is required to go back under the pipes where she's safe in her little nook.
Yeah.
With her dad to go into the water.
Gina.
Yeah. Die, faint.
Gina, I just want to remind you that last year I fell off a curb. Becky saw this. It was a very small curb, and I fell right on my face. There's no way I would.
So you're just getting tangled up in those wires and just just lay there. It's well, all right, come and get me.
No, I'm that cop. I'm totally getting chomped in the torso and getting thwacked into the subfloor of that basement.
Yeah, but you die a hero though. I mean, he tried.
I don't even know if I could take the face full of spiders.
I
forgot.
That was gross.
That's a lot. That's insult to injury, to be honest with you. But this movie takes it there. So yeah, Shark Night.
I would not want to die like the partner cop who stares at a rusty swing set and very clearly is being pulled by something underwater.
Very large.
And doesn't try to run away.
I need to hop in this boat.
Get in a boat. Just watches.
It's maybe
he is chumped.
Maybe that's a cute sea turtle over there. What does he think that is?
I don't know.
Do you think it's a manatee?
What? What are you doing?
I feel like he gets the fastest death though, because like I said, he's set upon by 6 alligators.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, his death is fun to watch.
Yeah, they tear him apart like a loaf of monkey bread.
Yeah, he gets the full Day of the Dead where they each take a piece and they just pull apart.
Yes, but I guess it serves him right for standing there.
I'm not going to say he's asking for it, but he's not asking for it. So yeah, I guess, do we want to know what our circumstances are for Choose Your Own Champventure here? Like, you're going to get eaten by a gator one way or the other. How are you going to be taken out?
Jeez. I mean, I probably, would be, stealing a hot dog in the I mean, let's just face it. I love how, like, please, he's like, hey, free hot dog.
And he really loves the sunglass cart. He takes like 20 pairs of sunglasses and looks at each one and smiles delightedly.
He's taking those gift cards off the wall like you don't have to register them at. Come on, man. Like, have some sense. You know how gift cards work. That's not going to help you.
Because I wouldn't try to, if I was going to get involved in looting, I would not take the ATM because I would not actually know how to open it. And I feel like something like that could be pretty easily, a trace back to you. I mean, I've seen Goodfellas. I know what happens when you suddenly start spending a lot of money. when you show up with a brand new Cadillac and then a fur coat for your wife and all. I know how that works out. You end up hanging in a freezer truck after a while. So yeah, if I had to choose, I'm gonna go out, eaten by a gator. Just it's a man's death.
There you go.
What do you say, Beck?
Oh man, I guess I'll go for the guy who, even though he is a ne'er-do-well with the stealing of the ATM, still had his heart in the right place to try to save the heroine, before he is smashed against the glass.
He tried to save her, and he tried to save his brother. He tried to warn
That's
his brother.
true.
Yeah. No, deep down, he's a thief with a heart of gold.
That's right.
He just might steal yours.
And you know what? Stealing an ATM, victimless crime.
That's very true. That robot doesn't own that money.
That money is
You're just stealing money from the gators.
That money is insured.
Absolutely. I'm taking that Day of the Dead.
You just want to be ripped apart.
I just want to be, yes. I want one and done.
Okay.
Man, everyone pull a piece, and I'm just a floating torso. I'm cool with that.
Use what's left over as a planter.
That's the name of my autobiography, Floating Torso. What does it mean? You're going to have to read it to find out. Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I am a writer at spool.net. I cover film and television, and I am on Twitter under Porcelain72.
Do it today, people. Check it out. You can find us on Twitter and on Facebook. We got the group going on, and then occasionally on Instagram, the whole 9 yards. You can join us over on Patreon. We've got lots of fun stuff there. We got an Animal Attack April special for you that will be there. We're going to talk about Annihilation, which is going to be really fun. In the coming weeks, the return of Dish by Dish. We're finally ready for seconds. We're going to take it on. We're going to follow our favorite gruesome twosome as they continue to fall in love the way one guy who hunts serial killers and one guy who is a cannibal only can. And a whole lot more. Lots of fun stuff coming your way, including The Mutilator, a movie that you have to see to believe. It is on Amazon, I believe. So do that. I promise you, worth the watch. It starts on a real high and you can't believe how it ends. I promise you, The Mutilator. We got a great guest. It's going to be fun. So for Becky and for Gina and myself, the body count will continue. Until next time, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.